Okay, now that we have our basket ready, let's create the checkout page. As you can see, obviously at the moment we just see the error, and this is because the checkout page doesn't exist yet. So if we copy the name, go back to our editor, open our pages folder and create a new file, call it checkout.php. Now inside of this file we're going to start with opening PHP tag and a closing one, then require once, and we're going to require our header first, .php, then copy this line, paste it underneath, and require our footer as well. Okay, now we have the header and footer on the page. Let's start with h1 tag with the checkout in between both of these tags. Then let's put the paragraph. Please check your details and click between the strong tags next, and then we can put the full stop after the next word. Okay, now we're going to start with the forms. So form action will be just blank, method will be post. Now we're going to have a table with cell padding 0, cell spacing 0, border 0, and the class tbl insert. Okay, now the first row tr, and we start with the th with the label for first name, and in between label tags we type first name colon and the star symbol to indicate that this is the mandatory field. Then we have td, and inside of the td we're going to have an input type text with the name first name, id first name. Actually, let's put on a new line so that we can see it clearly here. Okay, and the class FLD. We also can put value, which we'll leave blank for now. Okay, now if we copy this entire table row, we paste it underneath. This time first name will change to the last name. Let's change the name and ID attribute as well, and obviously we need to change the first name to last name of the label tag as well. The rest stays as it is. Again, copy the entire row, paste it underneath. Next thing we're going to be looking at is address. The first line, so address underscore 1, and we change the last name to address 1, which is also required. Now copy this for attribute and paste the same value to name and ID of the input tag. Okay, copy and paste underneath. Now second line of the address, it isn't required, as not all of the addresses have a second line, so we can leave it like this. Obviously change the name and ID as well. Then copy this, paste underneath. After the address we have town, which will be required, so star symbol, and for attribute town, the same for name and ID. Copy the entire row again, paste it underneath. After town we have county or state, if you're in US or somewhere else. County, and obviously we have county here as well. The same for name and ID. Copy the entire row, paste underneath. Now after county we have country. Actually no, before country we have postcode. So postcode or zip code. It is also required. We have post underscore code. Name and ID as well. After the postcode we have country. Country. We which is also required. Now country will be a drop-down menu, so we can remove this input field, and let's start with select name, country, ID, country, and first option will be value blank, and select one, then help, which is basically displaying 3 dots. Okay, after the country, we also need the email address, so let's copy the row with the text field, and after country we paste it, and we provide email address, which is required field. So email, the same for name and ID. And after the email, we simply copy this again. This is the last row, which we don't need the label for. So let's put non-breakable space. And then we have input type will be submit. And we don't need name for this. We do need ID, which will be btn. Class will be btn as well. Value will be next. And let's wrap this input with the label. I've created some classes which will basically format this button nicely for us. So for btn, remember that obviously for attribute has to refer to the ID attribute of the element we want to target. Then we have class sbm underscore blue, and fll, which is basically float left. Now the closing label tag will be after our input. Now we should have the whole structure of the form ready. So if we go back to our checkout page, if we refresh now, you can see our form is now ready. Obviously we need to create this countries drop down menu, but this is going to be our task for the next video. So let's move on and create our drop down menu with a list of countries.